What's up, team? It's your boy, Frank, coming at y'all with a video. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. You're tuned into the Chronicles of R&B Retail Blues podcast. So, it's been a little bit of a minute, if you would. But once again, customers is on the bullshit, if you would. So, I get a phone call yesterday from a customer, a random customer. Now, customer says, oh, I purchased something, like 3 weeks ago, and person's going on and on and on and on and on. But if you know me, I don't mind being on the phone if it's interesting enough for me to listen, and but if it's really about business, like really, hit those bullet points and put it, as they say, land the plane, drive me home, if you will. So she's going on and on and on. I purchased something 3 weeks ago, but it was, I sent it to my brother who lives in Johannesburg. For those that don't know, Johannesburg, South Africa. So she says that, and then she says, "Oh, her brother said that the sneaker wound up falling apart or rip or whatever." She basically says that. So now she's going on and on, like, "Oh, I want to be able to return it." I was like, well, "Listen, ma'am, if anything, us as a company, for the most part, we pretty much just about return anything, as long as it's within reason, as long as you have the receipt, and the tag itself. Now, being that it's a box shoe, it'll still have pretty much the, credentials on it or whatever." But then she says, "Oh, she calls me like 3 times," and I'm like, "Lady, what the fuck do you want? Like, I have better things to do than just to listen to your rhetoric, And she wasn't really angry, but, she's just trying to get over and just see what we could do for her in customer service. And I'm like, listen, if you bring the box in, and the sneaker, I could wind up doing a return. But then she starts saying, "Oh, well, what if I come to the store and, or you could give me, I could give you my information, so you could put it in on the computer and all this other stuff." I'm like, lady, you physically have to be here. Your card has to physically be here. The merchandise has to physically be here. I have to be able to verify what you're pretty much just trying to actually return. Then she goes on and on and on again, and I'm like, it was to a point where I was about to just, hang up, but then also be like, "Oh, sorry, it was, I don't know what happened. It might have been a drop call or something like that." But it's like, you customers really just try to get over, and it's like, yo, cut the short shit short, and really just be mindful. It's like, okay, you purchased something 3 weeks ago. It was for your brother. It's in Johannesburg. I guess he tried to return it in one of our international stores over there. But, our system, which I explained to her, is going to wind up being a little bit different, being that it's U.S., it's U.S., Canada, that sort of thing. Anything for outside of those 2 realms is going to be a different type of system, which I explained. But, she didn't want to hear that. She wants me to reach out to somebody higher up if I could, see if they could do something for her, and yada, yada, yada. Like, ma'am, I'll do my best, but the chances are it will probably be a flat out no. I wind up reaching out to my higher up. The person wind up saying no. I tried calling the person back yesterday. They didn't answer, but then they tried calling back. No, I was pretty much, I left for the day. So if anything, if you wasn't able to pick up the phone and literally, if you wasn't able to pick up the phone, sorry, I'm driving. But if you wasn't able to pick up the phone while I'm calling you, knowing that, what your severity of your situation is, but then want to try and call back, I'm not here. Plain and simple. Leave a message with one of my other team members, and I will get to your phone call when I get to your phone call. Being that it's the weekend, I have to deal with customers, especially on the weekend. If you're in retail, that literally weekends is usually the busiest, because most of the time, majority of the world is off on the weekends. But in retail, sometimes you have to work weekends, sometimes you're off, sometimes you work. But I'm going to be focusing on customer service, the people that were actually in my store. They're actually looking to buy, they're actually looking to shop. I'm not absolving, her situation, but that transaction has been pretty much taken care of. So until you figure out exactly what your brother whether your brother has a receipt or anything like that, I can't really do nothing for you until I physically see it there in the store. All right, guys, let me know if I'm out of pocket. Let me know what y'all thoughts are. Tell me if I need to do better. But y'all tune into the the Chronicles of R&B Retail Blues podcast. It's your boy Frank. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Until the next video, guys, take care, be safe, peace, y'all.